Welcome back. This is our series, Tips for the Trail. This is information that my family of three and I picked up on the John Muir, recent section hike of the John Muir Trail. We spent about a week out there, so learned a lot of things, and hopefully this will be useful for you, whether you're headed to the JMT or some other trail. For this video, what we're going to talk about is a first aid kit and what's going on with that. Now, keep in mind, I'm a family of three, so we got to get enough material for everyone. Plus, also, as weight's concerned, we can divvy these things up, so I'm not too concerned about weight. Also, you need to know about the idea that I'm kind of a kitchen sink guy when it comes to this. I don't want to be out in the lurch, out in the wild, and not have something that I might need. So probably did overboard on this, but nevertheless, let me go through this real quickly and show you what things we have in here, what we used and didn't use. By the way, weighing this whole thing in, it comes in right at about 12 ounces. Pretty heavy, but that's for 3 people, so 4 ounces per person. Also, a little thing before I dig into this, this is a little bag that we found at IKEA. It's in their travel section. They have it's kind of a pack of these things. It comes in 3 different sizes, but this one worked out ideal for our first aid kit. Nice and ventilated and lightweight. Okay, so to start off with, first aid kit, you gotta have plenty of this. So we had our ibuprofen as well as our Excedrin migraine. The Excedrin migraine has both Tylenol, aspirin, and caffeine in it. So any altitude or morning lack of coffee, that kind of kicked that. So having those guys, definitely want to do that. In another section or another video series, I talked about things for the feet. This is our wool that we use for that. Again, cannot speak highly enough of the wool to prevent blistering. This is a preventative thing, or if you feel some heat coming on, stick this between your foot and your sock and you're good to go. Huge fan of that. Weighs hardly anything, so that was good to have. Kind of a silly thing you don't think about, but if you're going to be on the trail for a couple weeks, things are going to grow. So especially keeping your toenails and stuff in check and so on is important things. We had a toenail clipper as well as a few safety pins. Safety pins was, I told my wife we had the safety pins along that she could use for blisters, or you could use it for kind of, keeping if something tore or something like that, so we could use that. And she was worried that I was talking about skin tearing. I'm like, no, if clothing tore, we use the safety pins. So that was pretty cheap and effective. Tenacious tape. So we did have some duct tape along, but this stuff here is a little bit stronger than duct tape. We actually did wind up using this. We had a tear in our tent as far as the mesh goes, and the mosquitoes were horrible there. So this stuff, we did a double-sided on that. Worked out really well. A little bit on the heavy side, but again, if you need something really rugged, would recommend that. What other things are popping out here? Okay, these guys are kind of cool. If you go to, say, the foot section of any large box store, Target or Walmart, you find these little tube guys, and what happens is if you have a blister or corn or an issue happening on your toe, you can actually stick your toe inside this. We worked really hard to keep our blisters down by using Glide and things like that, but every once in a while something would happen, and my wife wound up using these, I think, on one of her big toes, and it's just a nice cushioning thing. It actually has a little aloe on the inside, so that worked out great. Weighs next to nothing. Would highly recommend that. Other things we got going on. Rubber gloves. My Boy Scout training for my son, always have rubber gloves. Never used them, but you never know. We had some athletic tape in case you need to tape up toes or something like that. Probably between the tenacious tape and the wool and the other things we had, maybe didn't need that. We've got an ACE bandage in here that you can see is still wrapped up. Luckily didn't need that. But again, coming in at an ounce, who knows, so I might keep that. Other pills that we had. So let's see. So this is just some straight Tylenol in case there's some fever going on. And the blue guys are the Tylenol PM, so in case we were worn out but not worn out enough to go to sleep. Wound up not having to use those, so probably would ditch those for next time. What else do we have here? We've got, let's see. Oh, this is, I believe, Benadryl. My wife has allergies, nut allergies and things like that. So not only did she have her EpiPen along with her, but she also had some Benadryl. So that was a useful thing to have. Other things we've got going on here, we've got some laxatives as well as acid reducers in case any of those things pop up. Luckily did not need those, but again, minimal weight. A little bottle of super glue. Believe it or not, if you get a split or a cut in your finger, instead of using something like New Skin, this is a little bit more aggressive, lightweight, weighs next to nothing, so that was something useful to have along, as well as maybe any kind of gear repair that you might have. So I would keep that guy as well. Other things, let's see. We had a variety of different Band-Aids and stuff going on. These are actually gel Band-Aids that we had in case of blistering. Those are similar, I believe, to Lord, what do I have here? Well, this is kind of our blister kit. This is similar to what's going on with the, get it out here. Okay, these are very similar to the Glacier Gel. So these have been out for a while. So Glacier Gel was kind of a old standby if you had a blister pop up. Now Band-Aid's coming in and making their own version of those things. So those were out there. As you can see, probably packed way more of those than we needed, but better safe than sorry. Next time, keep it on top of the blisters with the Glide and the wool. Probably wouldn't need nearly as many of these. Couple alcohol preps for wiping things off. There were some cuts and things that we did get along the trail, so it was nice to have those along, so those were useful. This little bag of powder, believe it or not, this is kind of a foot powder sort of thing, just in case we needed it. Wound up not using it, so probably wouldn't make it in the kit next time. Our good old friend Moleskin, you can see this has been used. This was actually used on previous trips. Now that we're using the Glide and the wool, we really don't need nearly as much as that we needed. And man, oh Lord, look how much of this stuff I packed. So probably would either do away with or greatly reduce the amount of moleskin that we had. Some more Glacier Gel stuff, a 3x3 gauze pad just in case things go bad. Speaking of if things go bad, I found this stuff right before we left, the stop bleeding thing. So in case you had a really bad bleeding situation that you just couldn't get stopped, you pour this stuff in and it kind of helps to coagulate that. Pretty cheap thing I think I picked up at Walmart. It was kind of handy to have. A little bit weighty, but again, in an emergency situation, I wouldn't mind having that along. And then some Neosporin and packs. So instead of using the tubes, we just got it down these packs. Did wind up using some of that with a few Band-Aids, so those were handy to have. And last but not least, it looks like we got some Imodium here just in case things went south. So really, at the end of the day, as far as the pills and stuff that we had, again, Benadryl, Imodium, some pain reliever, some laxatives, some acid reduction stuff, all good things I would keep. Probably would lessen the amount of moleskin that we had and maybe some of the bandages and things. But otherwise, that's coming in at about a 12 ounce. Probably could knock that down to maybe 8 ounce first aid kit. Useful thing to have, and would recommend most everything that we had in there. So hopefully you found that useful, and hopefully you really don't need it, but you have it there just in case. Happy hiking.